It's end of July, very early August, and it's that time of the month when it's garden tour time. We've had all sorts of weather this month. Just last week we had some heavy rain. Excuse the very vocal cows this morning, it's going to be a bit noisy. We've had, some very heavy rain, but also some spells of really, really hot weather, which meant that things just kind of flowered and flaked out. So, there's all sorts going on. It's starting to look really autumnal, I can't believe it. Join me and take a look and compare it to the last month or two. So the wildflower area under the apple tree is starting to look a bit tired now, a bit blown over, a bit weedy. Leaves are falling off the trees. It's looking distinctly autumnal. And it's not even August yet. So moving from the wildflower patch to the top of the garden, as usual, apple mint is also looking a bit blown over. It has got netting on it, but it's still, it was rather enormous this year, so it's still got blown over a bit, so I need to work with that. Just got one more lot of Sweet William to take out. These have now been planted up with a late sowing of cornflower. See what becomes of that. They won't be nearly as big as the spring ones, thank heavens, but will just give me a little bit of a splash of colour in the autumn. Oh, and there's another bed of Sweet William that I need to pull out. And then moving down to the greenhouse. Gosh, the GMs are still flowering. I hadn't noticed that. That's amazing. And zinnias quite like it in this very dry patch. I put a little bit of statice in there. A few leftover things have just gone in here. Always a difficult one to deal with. Okay. So my borders are incredibly weedy. Not sure how I can get in there and get anything, but I'm just leaving those for the time being, trying to concentrate on the annual borders. Still quite a lot of things to do. So my second sowing of Gyp is just starting to flower. Just noticed that this morning. I've got a late sowing of Nigella here. See what becomes of that. Scabious are looking fab. So whites, and then this beautiful dark night, and then a pink and lavender mix, and then some white ones. So really happy with those. Larkspur needs pulling out. It had a bit of a nasty virus, to be honest, so I'm just going to pull out these. There's some blue ones at the end which I might be able to use next weekend, but basically these two rows really need to come out. Larkspur are looking great. Some taller than others, that could be down to the variety. Got some apple blossom, those pink ones at the end, and then some nice white ones here. Calendulas, surprisingly still going okay. Getting quite tall, but no mildew as yet, which is quite unusual. So the Daucus has gone to seed, which I can cut those off for drying. And similarly the florist still and false fennel. So a lot of things are kind of had it with the high temperatures we had recently. So the blushing bride still to get a bit of height on it. This has popped in the ground quite late. Got a few helichrysum at the end. Cornflowers, trying to keep those going for things like buttonholes and so on. It's quite hard to keep them going. And the clary is also gone to seed. Been drying bits and pieces of it. The purple was the last one to go in the ground, so it's still. The Cynoglossum. Hoping I might have a little bit of blue left for a wedding next weekend, but after that it's going to come out. The Phlox Cherry Caramel and Creme Brulee. This is quite high in here, so that's looking quite nice. The Corncockle needs to come out, and I've got some Snapdragon here. So sweet peas, I did a massive picking at the weekend. They were quite short, but I still had a couple of hundred of them. And the cobia is still climbing away. No flowers on it yet, so I'm hoping that's going to take over when the sweet peas fall by the wayside. Okay, so the Rudbeckia, just the odd flower or two. It's going to be a few more weeks before I can really use them. I think that's the Sahara. And the Honesty has been cleared, and I've popped in some Hesperus. It's plenty early enough, so I hope that's going to be okay. But I just had to get them in the ground. They're safer in the ground than out of the ground with me. Just leaving the Amion there to dry. I'll probably pick a few more of those. I've dried some already. Just an excuse not to dig it up just yet. Zinnias starting to get a bit taller. So I've got Coral Beauty. Coral Beauty here. Quite small flowers. Getting a bit taller now. And then I've got a giant dahlia mix, which I'm hoping isn't all going to turn out to be red. We've got a nice, I love this one here. This one here. So, and a little bit of Echinacea Tinkerbell. Although it's a bit weird that these are all white and my other ones have like a reddy tinge to them, so that's a bit strange. Okay, so moving down towards the perennials. This lovely annual hardy perennials. Clematis, I think it's called Red Velvet. It's just lovely at the minute. Next to the yarrow. Various patches of other perennials which I'm using too. So a little patch of Daucus here. It's starting to get a bit useful now. It looked tiny for a while. Bells of Ireland are quite tiny though. I don't think I've used any of those yet. This is the Nicosia Tinkerbell, which I love. So keeping that ticking along. I seem to have a lot of Dazzler, a lot of Cosmos Dazzler. I thought I'd planted more pink, but it seems to have come out a very dark pink. And the Amaranthus. We've just got the Viridis and we've got Velvet Curtains. So I've planted my Honesty out, again really rather early, but it just grew really well from seed this year, so it was fairly stonking, so it's just safer in the ground. This is just a little patch of leftovers, some Cosmos, some Lopi which was tiny, starting to get a little bit bigger. And then perennials are really kind of pretty much at their best, at their peak I would say. So the Achillea in various different colours, some pastel shades, some sort of red in the middle and then the white at the end. I've got some verbena here and sea lavender. It's the first year I've grown sea lavender, so that's ready to cut actually for drying, or using anyway. Cows are going for it. So some phlox there, Echinacea, it's lovely, Gypsophila paniculata. I'm a bit more enjoying it this year. It was a little bit underwhelming last year, but it's a great kind of frothy, gives a bit of frothiness. So the Achillea the Pearl absolutely loves it here and is amazing for drying and using fresh, obviously. So I'm cutting that like crazy. Catanach. I thought these would be better for drying than they are, but when they dry, they just completely close up like that, which is still quite nice. But I was kind of hoping they would dry and stay open, but they either I'm not catching them right, or maybe they're not much good for that. So Lysomachia clothroides or gooseneck loosestrife, looking absolutely brilliant at the minute. So love using that. And the Echinops, it's just coming into its own. So it's just starting to use that. The Shasta daisies haven't been amazing this year. Okay, let's look in the greenhouse. So I potted on quite a few biennials yesterday, and also rescued them from the rain. So we've got some Sweet Williams which just need a little bit more nurturing before they're ready to plant out. Just wait for the roots to come through them. And some other things in the greenhouse that got a bit neglected, but yeah, you can see that they do so much better in the greenhouse. I'm going to show you my compost heap today. So this compost heap, this side is obviously getting stuff just added to it. This is still breaking down, and this is pretty much cooked now. Maybe might need a little bit longer. So finally they're starting to get a bit of colour in them. It's taken a while. Cows are very vocal this morning. So the Arabian Night, which I'm really growing for a wedding in September, but I do love that one. Easy to propagate as well. Now, I think this is creme de cognac, but I thought I'd bought creme de cassis, so it's probably my mistake. Anyway, we've got all sorts going on here. They're starting to get a decent height. Pink Honesta, strawberries and cream. It's about the only big one I keep these days because it just is easy to grow. Some nice, I can never remember that if that's wine-eyed Jill or another one. Oh, Labyrinth. Only just noticed these. Labyrinth is starting to flower. Beautiful. Things have ended up in rather odd places. But yeah, I'll just whiz up here. Franz Kafka is this one. Nice Baleska. One yet to flower. You baby, looking fab. This is creme de cognac. No, creme de cassis. Sorry, creme de cassis, Nicholas, and Preference. More Nicholas. And then I'm trying to cut a lot of this for drying. So we've got the Helichrysum, we've got the bee balm, which is Monarda lombarda, Xeranthemum. So my next little, I need to come out shortly to do a load of cutting. Quite a lot of statice here. More larkspur, which probably needs to get taken out. More statice. So I do have a patch of phlox, which I'm using. And some Amobi malatum, which I thought I'd lost, but it's decided it's going to flower. And then these are still asleep, but they wake up my acroclinium, which are lovely daisy-shaped flowers. Okay, so the Helianthus vanillarice sunflowers. Some seem to have a greenish centre, and some, find a nice one, have a brownish centre, but they're just quite a nice size. And then we've got more Cosmos, which are actually looking a little bit better now. They looked a bit sick to start with. Really hope, there's this bit of a sick one here. So I have a horrible feeling this is whatever this is going to spread. But the rest of them are starting to look enormous actually. So, but haven't really been able to use them much yet because there hasn't been too many. There we go. The end of July tour.